That was a shitastic corner. So today, just kind of riding around, gonna do some grocery shopping. Going to a place called J Mart to see if it's actually open yet. I had dropped by this place about a month, 2 months ago, and they said they were open, at least like according to Google Maps and all of that, but they didn't even have shelves and stuff set up. So I'm gonna go there just to see if they're open. If not, I will go to another place to get my groceries. Yeah, so that's that. But really the purpose of today's ride and filming today is to just get some video recorded, really. I want to get some video recorded so I can have something to work with in Final Cut Pro 10, which I just got a month or so ago, and I just didn't use it because I didn't like the video that I had and don't want to mess with it. Yeah. So other notable things, we've had this bike, Samara, my Triumph Street Triple RS, for just over a year now. 25 and change on the clock in terms of mileage, which is kind of actually honestly lower than I thought I would put on for first year. I was expecting to already be needing new tires, which I have not yet done yet. So I was probably guessing for the 3,000 to 4,000 mile range within my first year of owning the bike. But I mean, life is what life is. I didn't ride for almost a month earlier this year as part of being in the hospital for about a week unexpectedly. And ever since then has been kind of a combination of more or less recovery, for lack of better words. And that recovery is really because I more or less had from what could be told at the time, according to the test, is that I had a heart attack. May not have actually had one, but basically my recovery process is as if I had a heart attack. So yeah, so that's that. Other things going on. Harley just kind of broke. And I think Harley's kind of broken in a couple ways outside of just my bike specifically right now. My bike, which I don't think I've actually made a video of in detail, except for maybe like a couple videos here and there from a few years ago, shot on a Drift Ghost, where I really did not like my audio. So basically my one of my fork seals is gone, or in bad shape, and is leaking oil, which surprisingly went into the Harley shop yesterday, and their mechanics were like, "Are you sure you have a leaking fork seal?" I'm like, "Yeah, I can compress my front suspension and watch oil squirt out. Tell me that's not a bad fork seal." So yeah. Also, I guess people have gone on about the new models of bikes the Harley's releasing for combination next year and the year after, for 2019 and 20. I think they're really cool. The bikes themselves, the plan in which they announced it and like the way that they did, I guess, is really shitastic. And I say that as a Harley owner, obviously, but also, you know, I'm kind of in that demographic where Harley wants to attract. You know, a combination. I know I'm not that new rider, but I'm in that demographic of people that Harley would not consider as a typical customer. You know, I am Asian, yes, but you know, that's like the biggest thing. I'm Asian. You know, when I was interested in motorcycles and I got my motorcycle endorsement originally, I was 25, 26, I think. You know, coming out of a deployment in the Army. Yeah, so, I mean, I wasn't at the time, obviously, I had older mail, and all of that, that was invested in a motorcycle culture. I'm not, my family isn't, well, I shouldn't say I'm not personally, I am now, but I am invested in the motorcycle culture as a motorcyclist, and whatnot. So, I mean, at the time I wasn't. I only had the passing interest in motorcycles. But the new bikes, I mean, I sat on one of the new Fat Bobs. I own a 2013 Fat Bob, and I only like the new Fat Bob in terms of, oh shit, I'm gonna get stuck at this light, aren't I? There's no sensor. It should be timed. But I only like the new Fat Bob in terms of how it's lighter. It's lighter than my Fat Bob, but still, I think it's a very heavy bike, especially for a new rider to come in. And I mean, at its price point, it's not a good bike. I think it was like 19,000 just for the 107 inch bike. And I just don't think it's that good of a bike. It really isn't. Not as a new rider. I wouldn't get it. Like all of the Softails, basically, I would not say are a good bike as a new rider. If, you know, we go back to 2013 and put myself in the shoes of walking into a Harley dealer, if I did not know that I wanted a Fat Bob, I would not buy one. I would just be like, no, they're too expensive. And they don't have that look, that classic vintage American kind of look. I mean, especially the new ones, that new Fat Bob is so horrendously looking with its headlight now. And one of the reasons why I really liked the Fat Bob originally and was attracted to it was because of the dual headlights and that look. The new one just doesn't have it with I don't know what you want to call it, a unibrow look. It's like Cyclops, you know, from the X-Men in his visor is what it reminds me of. I just don't see it working. But the new bikes, it works. I mean, that kind of look works because we're talking a Street Fighter, an ADV bike, and a Livewire. These are all bikes that Harley does not have riders that have an invested interest in or an established base necessarily. I mean, sure, they might have, you know, they may, like, for an electric bike be competing against, say, like a Bramo or something, or a Zero, whatever, but, I mean, we're still talking a Harley, at least. It's a completely different, you know, kind of platform than something that's, like, what, 8, 9, 10,000? But I think even if we start talking on the Street Fighter category of can Harley compete, I don't think they can. I mean, let's say that Street Fighter is a 900cc bike, 8 to 900cc bike, okay? And it has all the other whiz bangs that you may want on a bike that's comparable in its class. So rider modes, you know, let's go all out, say fully adjustable suspension, quick shifter, traction control. Okay, so yeah, I think those kind of things are mandatory to be a competitive bike. But because I slap a Harley name on it, what am I going to charge? well, I think they're going to charge at around, you know, a couple thousand more. Like, not just because it's a Harley, but, well, yeah, because it is a Harley. But, like, so even let's say the FC, I think it's a $9,000 bike. Sorry, the Yamaha MT-09 is like a $9,000 bike. I think it goes like 10.5 for the SP if you're in the UK or wherever you can get it. I think that's a great bike and a great competitor to the Strand Triple, but there's still, even when you look at the Street Triple and to the mix, the Harley will be at a price point that it doesn't compete with a bike at the same price point. So, like my Street Triple, 12.5 MSRP, I think that's the likely MSRP for a not as well equipped Harley Street Fighter. And when I say not as well equipped, I mean you're not going to see things like the Brembo levers. And I mean, like, to me, I recently sat on and I was considering if I was to upgrade to a new bike, what would that new bike be? Just kind of like as a whole shot, you know, random one-off kind of thing. Money was no object. And honestly, that bike would probably, in terms of physical characteristics, and what's available now, I mean, if it was not a Speed Triple or a Street Triple, it would probably be a S1000R. That S1000R, to me, like, I just don't, there are aspects of it that I don't like, but I still think that would be, you know, an all-out bike. Where does the crazy lady have me going? As a dyno owner, the new bikes, the new soft shells they came out with, just leave me like in a lurch and completely turned off. Yeah, so the new soft shells just leave me so turned off with Harley. And I think the biggest mistake that they're doing, really, is that they're not focusing on the Sportster line. They need a smaller bike that is more approachable, and that it's a better bike. I mean, they need to make small. I think they really need to make a smaller bike that's just better. And keep like something like one or two like true softail models available that are, you know, like, so like let's say like the Road King, Road Glide, Street Glide. Keep those around. Then you know, have more Sportsters. Have better Sportsters. I think the Sportster lineup sucks because it's all like, ooh, look at me with my like 3-gallon peanut tank that once you start is basically empty. Ride for like 15 minutes. And I swear I was gonna make this a Street Triple review instead of talking about Harley on my Street Triple. But yeah, I mean, I just think Harley's digging themselves in a hole, and they're digging themselves deeper. But yeah, we just, but I mean, at the same time, I think what it's really done is open my eyes to that if I was to get another bicycle, or not bicycle, what the heck, if I was to get another motorcycle, I think I would probably get another Triumph. I'd probably get a Triumph cruiser type of bike, probably a Speedmaster. And I would get that to replace my Fat Prop. That's how I feel about Harley. Where the frick is Beaver Street? This is freaking post office and stuff. Come on, come on. There you go. In terms of street triple, this bike is amazing. I'm absolutely crazy for it. I mean, I think the problem that people will need to get over is it's a sport bike. Yes, it is a sport bike in the sense that it is sporty. I know I am now. And even though it is a sporty naked bike, it is a very good everything bike. It's very good at commuting. Whatever, rolling around town. It's good all day. It's comfortable. It's not excessively hot. And it has a really crappy light placement. Yeah, and overall it's a great bike. There's a lot of nice little finishing touches that the bike has. Especially at the RS level. I can't say so much at the lower levels, like the RNS is with the default stock Triumph parts. I don't think they're as great. And I mean, I'm talking like they're not as great because the levers aren't as great. That's what I don't like about them. Like the others, the levers aren't as great. The feel that you get in the levers, the adjustability, the control. I find that so invaluable when I ride, and it's hard to really put it into words, but it's just the feel, the responsiveness, kind of that feedback that's provided. You hear like motorcycle journalists and stuff, and other YouTubers say like, "Oh, it feels woody." Well, or like the brakes when I squeeze them, they feel woody. I just like don't feel a lot of whatever. Feel a lot of input or feedback. Well, just put it this way: they feel like crap. And they just don't feel responsive. They don't feel as controlled, I guess, maybe even a way to put it. And when I say controlled, it's like the difference between fine and gross motor skills. Do you beat something with a hammer, or are you able to dial in a very precise and controlled amount of pressure on your brake levers? Are you able to do that? That's what the difference is, like to me, between like these Brembo levers. True termina. And to me, that makes a huge world of difference. The feedback I get. And I know I had said before, the reason I spend the extra money on like the RS is the better brakes in those components, and I completely agree. It's not necessarily the brakes right now that I'm like focusing on, but it is the levers and those feedback controls. One of the changes on the bike that I made that I haven't really discussed is earlier this year, like a month or 3 months ago, I had the Triumph Daytona reel sets from adjustable reel sets from the 675 Daytona series put on, and those are $1,000 parts at the time, or like 2 years or so ago. They're harder to find now. I got them for a steal from my dealer, and like for such a great price, they do fit. I will attest to that, and they are definitely worth it. But the one thing that I wanted to address with having those rear sets was that they're more knurled. There's a finer checkering pattern that's on the foot pads, and because that means more traction, and it's grippier. For when I run. So that to me was really important thing to do. Had that done, and then also had a couple like odds and ends, like really like dingly doobob things that make no sense to put on. I'm not going to talk about that because I feel so embarrassed about it. But yeah, so like to me, those control items, the feedback, and how you interface with your bike are so important. Definitely spend the money on it if especially if you can get better by stock, or at least stock equipped on the bike. Whether or not you necessarily change them out is another story. Like, I know I'm not going to change out my levers for something else because short of like drop money on like Ramble RCSs or something, or other like race grade parts, there's really no point in spending that money. But foot bikes were something that were worth spending the money on because they're better than trams. Stock ones that came on the bike. Also, other things to do is I switched out my rearview mirrors from CRG arrows to, they took a different way. I think it's the same Jeep. Went to Paraversomas. They're similarly styled to the stock or the Triumph iron mirrors at the same price. But the aftermarket accessory ones that you buy are heavier than the ones that come stock on the bike. So I would say definitely recommend getting the aftermarket ones. Even if you like the style, especially because like you'll probably find that your handlebars get very buzzy. Mine did, and that was a big reason for changing that out. Is to get rid of the buzziness in my rearview mirrors. I also really do kind of like the blue tint in the Rizoma mirrors. Because it helps with glare. But yeah. And I mean, I think customizing a bike and is very difficult to do. I mean, sure, you can go look at like some magazine or whatever, where someone just drops money left and right on a bike. And may not necessarily understand what they're doing. And just make a pretty bike or a fast bike. Well, as a daily rider, I think it's important for a bike that is a daily rider, it needs to be well versed and accomplished in everything that its user owner would want. And a lot of times it means buying things multiple times. Like I've gone through 2 or 3 sets of mirrors, and I think I'm finally gonna stick with a set. And you find little things that just need to be changed. But as an overall platform, there's nothing on this bike that I would change. At like the key component level, I don't want to change my suspension. I don't want to change my brake parts. Don't want to change the engine. Yeah, how far with the gearing, the transmission. I think I am here. I think I'm just in the next. Oh, looks like they're still not open. Yeah, so as much as I would like to go to, what's the name place called? Itchmark. Because like in other cities and stuff, they look so nice. And like they look like a modern, clean place. You go to any other place, I don't know, there's like 3 around this area, and I've been to all of them, and they're not very impressive. Where am I going? Straight, left, that way. Okay. Yeah, so they're not very impressive. They're impressive in selection, I guess, if you've never been to Nation Grocer. But if you are familiar with like Chinatowns and stuff, they're not that. I was gonna say impressive, but that's not right. I mean, they're nothing different than what you would find in Chinatown, just condensed.